Hi everyone, welcome into Primetime TV. It's another great day here at the studio at WeBeamTV.com. We're glad to have you with us because the Kellys are live and unscripted, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Totally unscripted. Not quite as, well, yeah, I would say we're unscripted like our Women Unscripted show, which will be next week, by the way. But for today, we're going to be talking about some things that have really changed our lives, especially an exercise that has been the secrets to many successes. Number one, with my husband, Dennis Kelly, and number two, with me, as he brought me into this whole exercise program. I don't know if you're like me or not, but I always like to do the research and research the researchers, just like my husband, to find the validation on things that I'm going to do that's going to enlighten me and to improve the quality of my life. The same with my husband. So I'm going to start out the show with sharing some things that, some things we have shared before, some we really haven't. But I asked my husband why he put himself into the Tai Chi world. And we're going to just dive in a little bit deeper with that. So sit back, get nice and comfortable. And I'm going to share some validation from this book. I highly recommend anyone out there that looks into the researching the researchers like we do. This is the Harvard Medical School Guide to Tai Chi. In 12 weeks, some of the different things that can happen to you. We're personally not making any claims, but we'd love for you to pick up this book, do some of your own research, and you make the decision yourself. So I just want to talk to my husband a little bit here. I know you're hoping that your voice holds out because you've been teaching all day today.
That's right.
So we'll make the best of it. What you did when you decided to go into Tai Chi was way back in the day when you were in the dance business. You owned 7 school franchises, dance franchises.
Right.
And, excuse me, you went into the martial arts. Give us a quick little overview on why you tapped into the martial arts, what you were trying to achieve there, and then how you ended up with your master Lee to show you the soothing, smooth moves of the Tai Chi.
Well, when I won my first world championship as an amateur, the next step would be to become professional. There's a big difference. And what I found out from my grandmaster that trained me and several other grandmasters that were going down the same path, they got into the soft style martial arts along with the hard style. Soft style being Qigong and Tai Chi. Because he said if you ever want to be a world champion, you have to be able to motor through the Tai Chi movements and the Qigong movements to be able to reach your maximum abilities. In other words, we have all this tremendous talent inside of us, this tremendous power, so to speak. But it can't be limited to just fast movements. It has to be organized with slow, very planned out movements like the movements of Tai Chi. Then you bring the best of the hard stuff and the best of the soft stuff. And my grandmaster told me, if you want to be a world champion and be able to survive, you need to be able to heal. And to be able to heal doesn't mean just healing yourself, but healing your mind, healing your body. In other words, it's just not limited to a certain area because you got an injury. I'm not meaning that if you have an injury of some kind, that is designed to heal it. There is that benefit, but then the benefits go far greater than that. Like when you do a kick or a punch, if you do it very slow, every muscle, every tendon, every ligament is working in perfect balance. When you do that movement fast, as far as learning and doing it fast, you miss out on all the 100% recall of the motor nerves and everything in the body. A lot of people don't know this. Some martial arts are all soft, some are all hard stuff. But when you combine the Tai Chi with the karate, with the taekwondo, with the Ishin-Ryu, all those hard style stuff, and then bring in the soft, you create a tremendously powerful mechanism with the mind integrating into the body, because everything is moved slowly. It tends to really develop in a very profound way.
So would you equate that similar to frequency? It sounds like you're tapping in to all the various frequency of the physical part of the body when you're moving slow and then when you're moving fast, right?
Right, absolutely. And the thing is, it's creating a frequency that has everything working in perfect order. If I opened a karate school and taught just karate, I would never do that, first of all. If I opened a karate school and I wanted to really be a champion school, winning a lot of awards with my students and making them the best of the best, I would choose to teach them the slow movements for 3 to 6 months before they learn their first hard movement.
Really?
Yes, I wouldn't let them do hard movements until they were able to do those movements with grace and poise, moving slowly and eloquently.
Would that help them in the faster moves?
Oh my God, yes. And also, it's the reason I could, at 78 years of age, still fighting at a world-class level. None of my fellows that I fought with years ago were able to do this. I told them, I said, years ago, I told them, I said, you're going to have to bring in the slow, the Qigong, and the Tai Chi. Not just Tai Chi, but Qigong. They're like brother and sister, mother and father, any way you want to put it. But they're bound together to help. Qigong came about in 475 AD, and actually way before that. Go back 5,000 years, and it was in India. But the Chinese claim it, and they are owning it. And the Tai Chi came around 1300 AD because of the fact that the Tibetan monks had to have protection from the bandits who were stealing their food and wild animals. They weren't allowed to use weapons because the feudalistic government felt that those weapons might be turned against them. So the Tibetan monks, everything they did when they were out in the fields and the troops came by, they were doing these slow movements. They didn't look endangering to the troops. They actually laughed at them. So, of course, the Tibetan monks had the last laugh, obviously.
So I'm glad that you mentioned about your buddies in the martial arts over all these years. A lot of them have had to have hip replacements, knee replacements,
Yes.
and are no longer competing at all.
That's right.
Because I know you've stayed in touch with them from time to time. Were they some of the guys that you were suggesting to do the Tai Chi with?
Yeah, but they laughed at me.
They laughed at you.
They laughed at me. They said, that's all a bunch of you-know-what. I won't say the word.
Yeah.
And I could, at 81 years of age right now, if I really wanted to or could, I could go and compete.
I know you could.
I know world-class level. Not because I'm some guru or something like that. No, it's because I understand the dynamics of the human body.
Yes.
Inside and out.
Yes.
And the dynamics of the human body is slow plus medium plus fast, as long as it's not half-assed.
Well, one of the reasons
Pardon the pun.
One of the reasons why, because I know you would be out there this July at the U.S. Open in Orlando, I could guarantee it. You've got a bum shoulder, and it's been giving you some issues, or you would have been competing last year. So I know we're looking into getting that, taken care of for you. But
I had this bum shoulder way back 20 years ago when I met you.
I know.
I fought all those tournaments with a bum shoulder.
How did you do that?
Qigong was enabling me to do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of and the funny thing, I didn't hurt the shoulder in karate.
I know.
Playing softball, I
know.
fell backwards, trying to catch a fly ball. The bases were loaded, and I wanted to catch that fly ball. And I went backwards, landed on my shoulder, and the rotator cuff popped out.
Yeah. And you, of course, healed it yourself then, right? By hanging on the...
That's
right. Okay.
I just messed it up real good by hanging on the fence, trying to get it back in so I'd go up to bat.
Of course you did.
With a messed up shoulder.
Of course. And did you?
I was sort of stupefied back then, and I did it.
Well, at any rate, though, I mean, you've accomplished so much in acquiring that six-time world championship at age 78.
Most of those were in my late 40s.
It was after we met.
Actually, in my 50s. I won more awards in my 50s than I did in my 20s.
Yes.
And 30s.
Because you were a two-time world championship back in 95, 96.
Yeah.
And then you came back out of retirement 6 times. This guy has come out of retirement 6 times. Not that he needs another trophy lined up in our trophy room, as my grandson calls it, but to prove that there's a system that works and it's Tri-Neuro-Genics. I'm going to let you explain Tri-Neuro-Genics, because this really is a composite that you came up with using your own system. It's all outlined in my husband's book, The 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth, that we've talked about from time to time. But today, we wanted to focus on the Tai Chi aspect of it, because we didn't dive into it as deep as we could. And when we picked up this book, when this book came out from the Harvard Medical School, and they did clinical studies actually on Tai Chi. But the Tai Chi is part of your Tri-Neuro-Genics program in what you're just now explaining, combining the soft with the hard. Now, I talked to our friend through text just the other day, and he has a martial arts school up in Spring Hill. He's going to be coming on the show, and he wants you to come up and talk to his excuse me, his competitors, because I guess they were moaning and groaning and whining because they were getting hit and punched and this and that, and he's running a really tight school, disciplining them to understand what they need to do and how to do it, and to, you know, just sort of suck it up, for a lack of a better phrase, as guttural as that may be. But you've often said, balance the soft with the hard style. And I don't think he's doing any of that up there, but it may help to hear from a 6-time world martial arts champion, because the kids love you karate guys, and I think you could probably help them out once they understand, because of the focus, the tremendous amount of focus. And I traveled with many of the tournaments, 1 full year with my husband, and I think that was in '96, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when I was top fighter of the year.
1996, and just before the competition.
It was actually 97.
Was it 97? Because your book came out in 96.
Right.
And yeah, so I traveled a good bit with him, and even heard him crack his ribs at one time. You could hear that in the whole auditorium of the martial arts tournament. But during that time, you would go off by yourself just before competition, and he did that in 2016 at age 78. You continued to do the same thing, the same program, over and over and over.
It hasn't failed me.
It has not failed you. 6 world championships, not to mention the 13 national championships. So I think he might have a sort of his finger on the pulse of what is working in his life and in my life too. In fact, I know now, after even reading more of this book, the benefits that they did these studies on for I don't want to say because I don't want to take ownership of a torn meniscus and possible ACL, not to mention the broken wrist 2 months later. But I haven't been doing it like I really would love to, and I'm not afraid now. I'm facing those fears and getting back more into the Tai Chi once I did even more research here. So I'm looking forward to it, and that's why we're here for you. That's why he goes out and competes. Because if you were to count up all your trophies, including the ones you gave away, right? How many trophies would you say? There wouldn't be room for our desk or our
Probably
furniture.
40 or 50.
Oh, more than that. I've got that in there now.
Who knows? Because I know I gave, when I moved from Spring Hill to Pinellas County, I gave away probably 20, 30 trophies.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of the 6-footers, because we didn't have room for them.
I remember that. I remember that. So getting back to the Tai Chi, when you actually first got started with it and you went into the martial arts, if you were to follow the heredity factor with your father, you wouldn't be here now, right?
He died at 53 of a massive coronary, so I didn't have very good genes when I was born.
But I remember when we started going together and you shared that story about your father, that you believed in your heart of hearts that you can change that. You can change that mindset rather than go with the flow. Oh, well, I have poor genes, I'm just going to be a loser.
You can affect your genes.
How?
Through Qigong, through Tai Chi, through deep meditation. You can affect your genes. You can actually tilt the genes and change some of the things that the genes were meant to not do. And a lot of people don't believe that. Okay. And it's not proven because it's hard to document something like that. But I took my masters, the one that trained me, my grandmaster that trained me, I took his word as law. and he was the one that steered me in that direction. He didn't use the word genes, he just used the word chi in the body, and you control chi. Chi does not have an effect if you don't use your mind. Your mind directs chi. Chi doesn't direct itself. It's an energy, and energy you can't see, but you can sure feel. Combining Qigong, which helps our breathing. Qigong, if you define Qigong, you would use the fact that it makes the person be able to meditate in the same scale as a Shaolin monk. In other words, to be able to focus and concentrate in deep meditation. Well, Qigong is meditation in motion, which is more powerful than sitting there and doing meditation. A lot of people don't know this. And then Tai Chi is perfect cousin or mother or father for Tai Chi, for Qigong, because they integrate together. The monks develop focus and concentration with Qigong, and then they develop the softness and pliability and flexibility of Tai Chi, and combining the two, it's when the fireworks really begin.
Yes, yes. And you really notice it. Some of the testimonials that we've received from our students, our certified instructors, is really amazing. But for viewers that are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. I'm so glad that you're with us. Share the story of Master Li, because this is just a fun story when you won at Madison Square Gardens and you wanted to honor him. That's what your intention was. You were being honorable to honor your Grandmaster.
Well, I enjoy telling this story because it was a tipping point in my life. It changed my life dramatically as far as my competitive spirit, as far as my control, as far as my, how should I say it, my love of the arts, and really being a competitor in a way that it was fun, not just tediousness. The training was fun. The fighting was fun. The new friends and people that you communicate through being competitive in that nature. By the way, if somebody's new watching this, you see my hands shaking and my voice quivering and slurring. I'm not nervous or drunk. I'm recovering from Parkinson, and I could never do what I do with Parkinson without Qigong and Tai Chi. It has stopped it in its tracks, and I still have, probably never will cure it 100%, but it's not getting worse. That's the main thing.
That's right.
In fact, I fought with it 3 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
It didn't hold me back. In fact, I won the first place at a tournament that for 20 years I could never win a first place.
That was a crazy day.
I thank the good Lord, because back quite a few years ago when I was contacted by what's the name? Here's a Parkinson moment. USF gave me 5 different grants to be able to teach people with Parkinson's disease and their caregivers. We started out with 30 the first year, and it was so good. The pilot study was so good results, that we got 4 more grants in 4 more different places. I was going all over the place teaching it.
I know.
And it was quite an invigorating experience. Who would ever know that I would get Parkinson's? I mean, it was like God put me in that situation so that I could draw out of that and go and help people that have this disease.
You know, that's a really good point.
I think there was something to that.
Yeah.
It's not coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence.
No, not at all. Not when you believe and
God,
you have the faith.
Right. God is quite an engineer. He is 5 moves ahead of us.
Oh, at least.
So I never try to figure him out.
No.
Or figure her out.
So getting back to Master Li, tell that story, because it's a great story that I can never hear too much of. It backfired on him. Go.
Well, my Grandmaster Li, he said to us many times, don't ever bring your trophy to the school when you win unless you're asked to bring it. And I didn't think too much of that, because I didn't really dwell on it. In fact, it slipped my mind, because when we fought, our school fought at Madison Square Garden in 1997, we had 4 of us that won the world championship in different age divisions and weight divisions. And I was so excited because in school I was a lousy athlete, and all my life I had this paradigm. So here I was winning at the same arena that Muhammad Ali and some of the great fighters fought, and great martial artists fought. Here I was fighting at that, and I went into first place. My first place trophy was in 1997, my first one in a world competition. And what was so exciting about this is I had come such a long way from being a really bad athlete. So what I did is my master had a special get-together the following week when we got back from New York, and there was over 100 people there. He was passing out the special uniforms that his wife made, handmade, to those of us that won first places. Well, I was walking around showing my trophy to everybody there, and my master was up there talking and doing a sort of like a seminar, and I was trying to be quiet and showing my trophy. He calls me up to the front of the room. He said, "You think you're good now?" I said, "Yes, sir, thanks to you." And he says, "I show you this baby. You no bring trophy without permission." And I'm saying this in front of all these people. Oh, wow, I'm in trouble now. And I'll never forget, because the other martial arts there at the school, I was only there for about a year. I was transferred from another school. And they said, "Don't ever spar with Master Lee. If he asks you to spar with him, he's going to hurt you. He's going to teach you a lesson." So he said, "Now you fight me." He said, "Get into your fighting position." So I thought to myself, is he going to fight me? This 60-some-year-old man.
And how old were you?
I was 39. He was 65. There's no way I'm going to embarrass this old man in front of all of his students. I mean, that's how wrapped up I was and so excited about my newfound power. And I stood there with my hands on my fighting position, and he looked at me. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I dream about it sometimes. He looked at me and says, "You don't blink now." And he's standing 5 feet from me, and he says, "You don't blink." I thought, does he mean if I blink he's going to score a point? Because I just fought at Madison Square Garden and a single point was scored on me. It was perfect matches. And all of a sudden, I was flying through the air and hit the wall. All the plaques come down off the wall. Several of the plaques came down off the wall, and I couldn't breathe. I thought he'd killed me. And he picked me up and jiggled me and said, "I kick you quarter power, you hurt a little bit. I kick you half power, you die. I kick you full power, you go through the wall." And I thought to myself, this is incredible. 65-year-old man moving so fast I couldn't even see him. And how he did it with perfect performance, like never had I had anybody that I experienced anything quite like that. So that was my tipping point, because I knew right then and there, I want to be like that man. And I wanted to have what he had.
And you have become your master.
I don't feel I could ever step in his shoes, but I was a good second place.
I would say so. So that's what put you on your quest to discover what his secrets were, and he blew you away with the Tai Chi, right?
He told me that the power that you exercise by combining soft and hard is unstoppable. He said, however, you have to live that outside of the karate school, outside of the Tai Chi school. You have to live that part. You have to develop a set of code of ethics. You have to really be honorable. You have to live a wonderful life, a happy life, and be positive more than negative. That's not necessarily, I'm paraphrasing now. It's not necessarily the words that he used, but he got the point across.
Yes.
Quite well. As a result, then, I started going into learning Tai Chi and Qigong. Loved it. Really loved it. And as a result, I fought in probably between now and back 40 years ago, probably more than 150 tournaments. And never had I had an injury that I couldn't fight the following week, even with the cracked ribs.
And that goes back to Master Lee saying, and you need to learn how to heal yourself.
He said you need to learn how to heal. I thought he meant healing other people. I said, I don't care about healing other. No, you need to learn to heal yourself. Because if you're going to fight with professionals, you better be able to take it.
And especially 20 years to your senior.
Right. Well, everybody I ever fought has been 10, 15, 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
I mean, younger than me.
Yeah. So the Tai Chi and the Qigong was one of the major factors that got you involved in really the balance with the soft and the hard. So if you happen to be a martial artist if you're getting your kids into the martial arts, think about this. We're working on our kids program, Tiger Kids USA, and I'm hoping to launch that hopefully sometime very, very soon. We'll be talking about that. I laid out some groundwork in moving the kids in doing moves like animals, just like the foundation of it, you know, the whole picture of it. Because starting with the kids, too, is another way to help them. I understand from doing our chamber shows that meditation is in the schools in West Pasco.
That's a good idea.
I am so thrilled to hear that. So going back to the master, so you went to him and you asked him, tell everybody what he said to you, and there's a lot of truth to this, too.
He told me, he says, you probably won't want to do what I'm going to show you, because you people in the West, all you care about is the cars and material things. He said, to be able to be the type of fighter that you want to be, you're going to have to really overlook those things. They can't be, you can have them, but they can't rule your life.
That's right.
And he said, you develop a code of ethics that is second to none. So then when you're outside of the school, you can live the martial art way, the martial way.
Yes.
Martial means war in English. What are we declaring war on? We're declaring war on positive, negative stuff that's not in the right direction, positive things that we use to get something and use the positive feeling to get that. That in itself is, it's deep thinking when you talk about that. But the key thing is the reason that you are doing something is not just for yourself, to help others. So you need to use that positive energy to help others rather than using the positive energy to accumulate a lot of things.
That's right. How did you convince him that how did you convince him that, yes, you want to learn this, Master Lee?
He didn't want to do it at first. He says, you're not going to want to do what I'm going to teach you. I said, yes, sir, I will do it, I promise. I kept bugging him enough, so one time he said, well, come in on Saturday afternoon at a certain time, and he said, I'll show you. So I went there, and I'm standing there, and he looked over by the wall where there's this, at that time it was a record player.
That's a long time ago.
A record player, and he put this music on, beautiful, soft, flowing music. And I thought, what is he going to do? Is he going to dance with me or something? Putting this music on, I thought.
Okay.
I thought, this is strange. And he started doing those. See, his wife was Chinese. And he didn't need money because his wife came from a very wealthy family. So he learned the Tai Chi from her. Ah. And the Qigong. That's how he was a Korean champion. Wow. For many years.
Wow.
So anyway, when I saw him doing these movements, I thought, this is crazy. And he said, this is what you're going to have to learn to do if you want to go to the extreme, to the extent, not extreme, the extent that you want to go. This is what you have to do. This will help heal your wounds, help prevent wounds in a way, and it'll also give you an internal power, chi, that comes from this part of your body and transforms through the whole movement of the body, like a whip. The tail end of a whip, the 600 miles per hour that whip travels, and that pop, the noise of the whip, is the stopping of that 600 miles per hour. That's what you need to think of your body as a whip, coming from the feet all the way up through the hands and emanating into your opponent.
I recall you teaching that to us in class.
And also you help develop inclusion. Yes. Inclusion is learning to know what your partner, what your opponent is going to do before he does it.
And you did that.
Yes.
You did that in all of your competitions.
Sometimes if I had a stressful day or something, sometimes it wouldn't work. And you have to be in perfect balance. The mind, the body, and emotion have to be in perfect balance to do inclusion. Peter Ralston fought the first American to fight over in China in Bloodsport, where the movie was created off of. He talked about that inclusion. He practiced that inclusion. But you have to do the soft and the hard to get inclusion.
Well, when you're talking about being in perfect balance, I mean like perfect, perfect balance, that's where your Tri-Neuro-Genics comes in, is balancing that mind, body, and spirit.
Well, true. Like juggling, a lot of people don't realize when you're juggling, the way you juggle, keep your eye on the ball in the air. You don't look at the ball in the hands, keep your eye on the ball in the air. Just like the thing is when you're competing with someone and you see them in your vision, You don't look at them, you look through them.
Ooh.
Because that's where the deep penetration comes in. You're looking through that person, not at that person. Then you're limiting that energy impact that goes further. It's hard to explain this to people in the West.
Well, yeah, I understand. One of these days, when we have a couple of big burly guys in here, we're going to do those energy demos because they're very profound. If you're not into energy yet or frequency, that, I mean, we've been into this and studying this for many, many years, and I mean, that's what it's all about. So balancing the soft with the hard is one of our key secrets, mainly what you use to become a world champion in the martial arts, but that can apply to dancing, right?
It can apply to anything.
It can apply to becoming a CEO of your company. It's
Same
all
principle.
the same principles.
The weapon of the warrior, of the supreme warrior, is attention. Attention develops conference. Attention develops, the word I want now is, trying to describe it in a way that would make sense to people. Attention develops concentration. Concentration develops spiritual power. And spiritual power is the mightiest force on the planet. So that starts with attention. Develops this confidence that you can direct that energy towards anything.
That's a key word, confidence.
Yes.
That's what it takes.
See, most people, the way they give up their power is they don't believe they have it.
That's
the way
right.
you use the power is believe you have it.
That's right.
Because you have it. You just have to believe that.
That's right. And it comes from your belief system and changing it to where you will believe that you have. We all have that power.
Absolutely.
But it's tapping into it. I'm just going to go off, not down a bunny hole, but I just want to mention something because one of the last shows that we did, we were talking about success versus significance. And the energy in those words, because you always say, words have power.
Absolutely.
They have power. And just in the last couple of days, and I made my notes on the gentleman who was speaker at graduation, and oh my gosh, I had it written down and I left it right on my footstool before I left. But he went and paid off all the student loans of those graduates.
Yeah.
The gentleman that I was telling you about.
I saw that on TV.
Well, on a different news segment, when he was speaking, he was talking about success leading to significance and being significant in your life and what you do. And so we did a whole show on that. I call it SOS, Success of Significance. Success is great, but when you stop and think about significance and what that can mean for you in your everyday living, in your code of ethics that my husband's talking about, in your self-image, all of that, significance, why are we here? We talked about that earlier this morning when we were on our way somewhere, but it really is all about significance because you took your learning and your intelligence to a very deep level of significant nature in order for you to achieve what you had to achieve. I did the same thing when I did Dancing with the Local Stars. I never ever dreamed that I would be able to kick up as high as I did with the Argentine tango. You remember that? And I dug real deep into that whole mind, body, spirit experience and the significance. Now, I didn't even think about that word back then, which was a few years ago, the significance of doing this for charity. Yes, for charity, for the junior league.
It all boils down to, if you really want to encapsulate some of what I've just been talking about, it all boils down to being able to, with using ancient secrets of the mind, to be able to develop an empire with a single thought.
Yeah.
How to use ancient secrets of the mind to develop a power, to create an empire with a single thought.
That's true, and I love the way you explain that, and we've shared that on several shows. Because once, sometimes you just need to hear something that resonates with you, that could make a difference in the choices that you make in your life, and that's what we're doing here. We don't know everything there is to know about everything, We know a lot about what we know, and we've put it all into play. Your Tri-Neuro-Genics program has worked. It's guaranteed to work. The classes that you teach, the testimonials that we have gotten from our students and our certified instructors are amazing. In fact, we're getting ready to gear up a brand new class, possibly, hopefully, in Tarpon Springs that will be open to the public. Beginners, you don't have to know a single thing. But going back to the documentation, I'm holding my place here in this book because I've got it all yellowed out. We have a couple of these books, so I didn't mind yellowing out in here. On the front of it, Harvard Medical School Guide to Tai Chi, 12 Weeks to a Healthy Body, Strong Heart, and Sharp Mind. And what really piqued my interest in bringing this into the studio today was, and before I go into this, I just want to say, we, my husband and I, are not making claims. What I want to refer to is what they're saying with the research that they did with Harvard Medical School and put in this book. So I went to, a lot of people are suffering from back pain. It can be very debilitating. I, for one, have been in several car accidents. And I don't even know that I ever hear you complain about back pain with all those competitions, or you just don't talk about it.
No, I don't have any back.
You've learned to heal yourself. Getting back to what we were just talking about. So on page 143, clinical evidence of Tai Chi for pain. Despite the widespread use of Tai Chi for pain conditions, only a few large-scale clinical trials to date have evaluated Tai Chi effectiveness and safety for chronic pain conditions. Nevertheless, numerous preliminary studies have evaluated Tai Chi for back pain, arthritis, fibromyalgia with promising findings. Now, you can get this book because it will go into even the fact that Dr. Paul Lamb, who we became certified under for arthritis, and we certify those instructors and we teach students that have the Parkinson's disease, and you received 9 grants from that. And so all of what we do is backed by medical documentation and this book that really validates a lot of the moves and the reasons why you were just talking about it. They're also talking about osteoarthritis in here. They have Tai Chi exercises for pain. And we have a whole program. We have the beginners that we start out, and we certify for actually some of our activity directors that are teaching at some of the local assisted facilities. They have to have a certification saying that they're certified to actually teach the Parkinson's program, the Parkinson's patients. And so that's all good. How about strengthening your heart? Oh, speaking of the heart, our cardiologist, Dr. Wynn, is going to be joining us here, I think sometime in July. So he's going to be able to give us a whole lot of tips on taking better care of ourselves and living an optimal life. My husband was told today, you are doing an optimal job with your exercise. You can do no more. You're at the optimal level. That's pretty good at age 81 to hear from a bona fide, board-certified cardiologist, and I thought that was really awesome. But the the things in here that I find so fascinating is the studies that are done, talking about the mind and focus. Now, I did have that focus in here, but also I'm going to go through here real quickly. We're in the last half hour of our show, I believe, so we've got, I don't know, maybe about 15, 18 minutes, something like that. But on chapter 2, this is page 29, it talks about the 8 active ingredients of Tai Chi. And this was what I was looking for the other day because I knew I had seen it as a handout that you hand out to our Tai Chi students and when we do training and certification and all of that. So all of our certified instructors have all this information, all the research that we do. But I'm going to just give these to you. And you can jot them down. You can pick up this book. You can go to my husband's website, dennis-kelly.com. You can find out more information there as well. But I tell you, I'm so blown away by this book. So the 8 active ingredients of Tai Chi are as follows. Awareness, including mindfulness and focused attention. Awareness, mindfulness, focused attention. How would you describe focused attention, something everybody needs today, including us, right? Focused attention.
Right. Well, it takes practice like anything else. I mean, you just don't say, okay, I'm going to focus.
Right.
You practice little mundane things. Like one good way that you can really develop the power of imagination and creativity through this type of thinking, through meditation, is burn a candle and look at the flame of the candle. And keep your eye on that flame of the candle. That's one way. There are many different ways. And then you can transfer that over into some physical things that you can do.
Well, you do that one that I still haven't been able to do. This one? That one when we do
Centering.
the centering, and I start thinking about something else. You always ask, who's been able to do that? Have we had any students that are able to do that?
I've had one or two.
It's only for a few seconds, but you alternate the centering and you keep your focus on that hand.
Right, you have no mind chatter.
No mind chatter, no thinking.
Not even thinking, you're actually feeling
Yes.
the effects of this hand moving slowly. Because we have a nerve, the biggest nerve in the body is the vagus nerve. Goes from the head all the way down to the abdominal area. Now, they don't talk about that in that book.
No.
The vagus nerve is like a barometer of the body. It reports all the different things to the brain that's happening in the body. And then the brain communicates back to the vagus nerve how to make these adjustments and corrections to help the body perform and help the body be mobile and in a positive frame of physicalness. However, the hardest thing to do is to do this without being able to let internal talk follow. In other words, to stop the internal conversation going inside you. Just look at that hand coming down and imagining that the vagus nerve is being satisfied, is relaxing. So when you're moving down real slow, it's like massaging the vagus nerve, because every organ in the body has chi channels that terminate in the hands. So when we're doing this, it's like massaging all the internal organs, especially the vagus nerve. When the vagus nerve is appeased, is channeled on, then the vagus nerve will give good news to the brain. The brain then sends back to the vagus nerve, keep up the good work, buddy. That type of thing.
Exactly. And that's such a good focus point, because there are so many concept changes in a day. What is the number of
In a matter of 60 seconds, the average person has 10, 15, 20 concept changes. Imagine 60 seconds.
That's insane. The
mind goes here, the mind goes there.
Right.
One of the lost arts in the West is being able to focus.
Exactly.
Because there's so many concept changes to be able to focus on an item. And what is the benefits of that? Well, there's 3 words that I teach all of my students that it's law. 3 words, the most important 3 words in English language. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. What we think about, we bring about. It's like the 4 laws. The law of general creation, there little
creativity.
the law of what's the first one? The law of deliberate creation is number 2. The law of, you know that, you can help me with that one.
The first one?
The law of
deliberate.
Well, the second law is law of deliberate creation. The third is law of allowing. The fourth is law of misuse atrophy.
Yes.
So I'm trying to think of that first one. The law of awareness. I know it's the law of awareness.
It's on that.
The law of attraction.
The law of attraction. Exactly.
There it is. So simple.
Because what you do think
one thing about Parkinson. Once in a while, you get that little thing that'll come in there and interfere with your mind, where it's almost like you shut down.
I think you're doing pretty darn good.
I've been able to improve that.
Yes, you have.
The way it was.
You absolutely have.
So the law of attraction, we all have that. We work on that when we don't realize it. What we think about, we attract. So to be able to do the second law, you have to be able to do the first law. You can't do the second law unless you can do the first law. Once you can do the first law and be aware of it, not necessarily do it, be aware of it. It's there. Then you can go to law number 2, the law of deliberate creation. Well, if what I think about, I bring about, I'm going to be thinking some constructive stuff.
Exactly.
So then you start focusing on those constructive things. And then you go to the third law, the law of allowing other people to be the way they want to be, even though they don't want you to be the way you are. that is the hardest law of all four. It's the law of that factor of being able to allow people to do what they want to do without trying to change people.
Exactly. And that is really, there's a whole lot of truth to that. And you just do your own thing and you focus on your own belief system and what you know to be true. Number 2 is intention, including belief and expectation. Additional active ingredients of imagery, visualization, and related cognitive tools alter intention, belief, and expectation and contribute significantly, there's that word again, significantly to the therapeutic and physiological effects of Tai Chi. Number 3, structural integration, including dynamic form and function, enhanced integration within and between multiple structural and physiological systems is another key active ingredient that underlies Tai Chi's therapeutic effect. Biomechanically efficient shapes and patterns of movement have functional consequences across many systems. Number 4, active relaxation. Let me say that again. Active relaxation. Those 2 words are very powerful right there. Tai Chi's circular flowing motion helps shift the body and mind into deeper levels of relaxation and is a form of meditation in motion. We teach that in all of our classes, and I love that. And now it's right. Did you know that was here in this book?
Oh, yeah.
You've been teaching this before we got this book.
Oh, way long.
Meditation in motion, exactly. And we have fun doing it. So if you're not one to sit doing mantras, and I'm still, you know me, I'm constantly moving and flitting here and flitting there, but I can do the Tai Chi, I can do the Qigong. Number 5, I want to get through these before we end our show. Strengthening and flexibility. This is huge. Tai Chi provides moderate aerobic training equal to levels obtained in walking at a moderate pace. The integrated movements result in less strain, greater power with less effort, and better balance. Balance is key. So many people come to our classes, they want to take the class because their balance is off. This can help with balance. The slowness of the Tai Chi movements in combination with slightly flexed stances and placing weight on one leg at a time for sustained periods leads to significant lower extremity strength training and increased loading on the skeleton, which promotes strong bones. In addition, slow, continuous, relaxed, and repetitive movement also results in dynamic stretching, which enhances overall flexibility. Let's talk about flexibility.
Voila.
Voila, you got it. I could not get down on the floor playing with my grandson and keeping up with that little tyke, I tell you. And now that he's 6, I don't even know what to expect, but I can when I'm more flexible. And when I have my balance, I can keep up with him. I'll be 71 this year, the big 71, and if it wasn't for the Tai Chi that I've done all these years and the Qigong, I don't know that I would be as flexible or being able to heal my own body. Like you said, I may not be a fighter or competitor out there. Of course, I am a peaceful warrior in this world because you almost have to be to survive. So number 6, here's another bit. These are all so powerful. Natural, freer breathing. You hear us talk about breathing all the time and raising our frequency levels because when we breathe and breathe deeply, it helps to get the oxygen to the cells. And guess what happens when we get the oxygen to the cells? They heal. They heal the cells just from oxygen alone. But more efficient breathing improves gas exchange, massages body tissues, including internal organs, helps regulate the nervous system, improves mood, and balances and moves qi, which is energy, within the body and between the body and the environment. Real quickly, I have 2 more points to make before we close out our show today, hon. About the breathing when you talk about nitric oxide. Can you give us a real quick 30 seconds?
When you do deep breathing, especially with music or in a relaxed state, you release a gas called nitrous oxide, not to be mistaken with nitric oxide, which is laughing gas. It's called the anti-aging gas. The body creates its little follicles up in the nose and also in certain organs in the body. And that actually causes the cells to the capillaries to expand, to dilate, and allows more blood to get to the brain. And it's the anti-aging gas of the future. It's a very short-lived gas. It only lasts a few minutes, but in those few minutes, it's like, wow, it's like taking a supercharger and putting on a Porsche.
Exactly. Thank you for that. So number 7, here's a good one. I think everyone will love this. Social support, including interaction and community. And you are in numerous communities, from assisted living facilities to golf and country club communities, and where else? And the gym over at Premier Choice Fitness, right off of Little Road by the Government Center in Newport Richey. But being part of a group has proven therapeutic value for various medical conditions, including cancer, heart disease, depression, and anxiety. In ongoing Tai Chi classes, students develop a strong sense of community, and with rich interactions and support from teachers and peers, often undergo a profound journey of self-discovery. Isn't that the truth?
Absolutely. And the thing that people don't realize is it's not just in the Chinese that developed Qi, the knowledge of Qi, I should say. The Japanese call it Qi, the Chinese call it Qi, the Russians call it bioplasmatic energy. Einstein called it zero-point energy. He used to say that if you had a cup of hydrogen atoms taken from the electrical energy, you could boil all the ocean's waters.
It's interesting.
And the concept of Qi and the concept of Qi, and then the Hebrews call it Ra. So it has many different names, but this mystical power that we have, like when a woman picks up a car off of her son, the car falls on the son. This happened not too long ago.
I know.
In Hudson, Florida. And she picked up, it was a Jeep, picked up a Jeep. And there's another case where a woman picked up a Lincoln town car off of her husband or boy. That is using that Qi force.
That's that strength.
Love. The key.
That's right.
Is love is so powerful.
That's right.
Now, could we do that just without a situation? No. I mean, if we practice for years, we might be able to.
You've often said that, and I have too, and posted on Facebook, that love is the highest frequency that we could ever have for healing.
By far.
So I have one more. Embodied spirituality, including philosophy and ritual. Tai Chi creates a practical framework for practicing living with a more holistic Eastern philosophy that integrates body, mind, and spirit. It can also be a powerful vehicle to add a spiritual dimension to your life. Also, the ritualistic practice of Tai Chi may help amplify and sustain its therapeutic benefits. What my husband did and he was certifying professional Tai Chi instructors even before we met. And after we joined forces, we did this thing where you integrated the Eastern and the Western philosophy. And of course, you were frowned upon by some of the Tai Chiists.
Yeah, they didn't appreciate that.
They didn't approve, but you know what?
They were trying to keep it secret.
You proved that it worked, and what you did was you were in the dance business prior to all this, and you patterned the levels of your certifications based on the levels in the dance world, with the bronze, the silver, the gold, and so on and so forth. So you combined your system of Tri-Neuro-Genics using the mind, body, spirit. They talk about that in this book. And I mean, the Harvard Medical School guide. I mean, come on, how can you get any better than the research and the documentation from this? This is the first time ever we have actually brought this book out here, because we want you to be aware that we just don't make things up. That we use this program.
The key word is credibility.
Credibility.
There's no more credibility than there is in that book.
That's right. And that you had talked about self-image. We talked about a code of ethics. Our code of ethics is to have a standard of excellence in our Tai Chi practice that we practice at home, out in the field, down at the beach, in class, and we really share it everywhere we go. And so today, our hearts told us to talk about the Tai Chi. We've only got a couple of minutes remaining, but I just want to say that we're here for you, and it does our hearts good to know that we can spend time with you and use WeBeam TV Our show, known as Primetime TV, even though we do special editions such as Ageless Living, Women Unscripted, which comes next week, it's going to be a great fun show. But we use this platform to be able to get a message out, and if it helps only one person, then we know we've done our job. You can always get a hold of us. You can go to either one of our websites. If you're wanting to know more about the Tai Chi and Qigong, go to dennis-kelly.com. You can call us. You can text us at 727-798-8081. And we're here, my husband and I. Sometimes if there's an emergency or urgency, you may see a rerun, but we make sure that all those reruns are full of good, solid, interesting content, because we want you to come back and help share these shows. If you would like to find out where there's a Tai Chi class in your area, give us a buzz. You want to get certified? Let us know. We do distant learning. Even for those of you way out there in California, we ship it right off to you, and we certify you through the mail and through now video.
One of the things we didn't mention...
Quick, quick. 30 seconds.
The key thing that we didn't mention, what helps, what the Qigong and Tai Chi, mixing the two together, you raise your empathy drive and ego balance.
Yes.
See, like a scale, your ego drive and empathy balance needs to be like this.
Yes.
If your ego's too high, there goes the problem.
10
if your
seconds.
empathy balance is too low, there goes the problem.
And then there goes the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. Thank you, my love.
Hasta
And
la
have a
vista.
great week.